Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Conquer College Admissions. My name is Julie Kim and I'm a graduate of USC and Harvard, now mentoring high school students to get accepted into their dream colleges using passion projects. If this is your first time visiting my channel, make sure to hit the subscribe button now so that you will be notified when I release a new video every week. If you're a high school student navigating your college admissions journey, and especially if you are aiming for competitive colleges, I'm pretty sure you're wondering, am I really doing the right extracurriculars? Am I really working on something that is going to make a difference in my application? And having worked with hundreds of students, I see a lot of mistakes that students make because with extracurriculars, they're not really focusing on what college admission officers really want to see, but students are just trying to show as much as possible. And we all know that this is not a quantity game. This is a quality game. So I'm about to show you footage, and this is a live session that I hosted inside my free Facebook group, Conquer College Admissions. And I'm gonna share this footage with you today so that you can also learn about what are the 3 things that college admission officers want to see in your extracurriculars. So let's go to the footage. So today I'm gonna be talking about 3 things you must show in your application. And these are not like the 3 activities that you should show, but it's more of what are the qualities and the personal traits that you really need to show in your application, because you have to understand that colleges are not selecting your application based on quantity, but based on the attributes and the personal qualities and why you are a great fit for their program. But the very first thing that I want to talk about is there are a lot of, wrong advice out there. And one of them is this notion that you have to check off all the right boxes, that you have to volunteer, that you have to go on a mission trip, or you have to take a lot of different AP classes. Or the very common one is that you have to attend 2 to 3 summer programs and camps, because if you don't have that, then they're gonna think that you're not trying. But again, that circles back to quantity factor, right? You're not trying to show that you did a lot of different things, because through that proof and evidence, all that they can detect is that you are able to register for programs and attend. And that's something that it's not going to really make them think like, oh, I can really, detect your personality or characteristics. Another mistake that students make, which is a wrong advice that students take, is they'll say, during my academic year, I'll go ahead and just focus on my GPA in classes, but I'll go ahead and just work on my standout factor during summertime. I'll just go ahead and go on a mission trip, like go to Mexico or go to China or go to Vietnam, and I'll just go ahead and do that one big event during summer. Now, the reason why that doesn't work anymore is because colleges now want to see consistency over just doing it one time. So you want to show that whatever you're passionate about academically and personally, that you've been working on it consistently. So if they don't see that, they are going to know that you just did it for the application. And the way that they can also detect that is if you're not talking about your passion project or what you've been doing for the entire year in your essays, then they know that that's not something that you're passionate about. So I'm going to share 3 things that you must show on your application. And number 1 is sustainability. So students will go ahead and create their passion projects, and they'll just have a website up and they won't do anything with it. And what I teach my students inside the Formula program is to really produce consistent content, or to host consistent events if that is what you're interested in, or to consistently work with a professor on research. So what you're working on has to be sustainable, because if you just spend 2 months creating a website and you're like, okay, now I have my passion project, I don't need to do anything, that's not a sustainable passion project. And that actually doesn't show me that you're passionate about this at all, right? So the second thing that they want to see is, again, consistency. So for example, one of my students, he's working on a podcast and he's talking about political issues and the election and all that kind of stuff. And what I'm encouraging him to do, and which he is doing, is to produce his podcast every month. And so sometimes I tell my students to produce their content every other week because they are juniors and we want to show a lot of content. But then for freshmen and sophomores, I just tell them to just do it once a month, because that is what is sustainable. But at the same time, that is what you can do consistently. If you create a passion project and you can't keep it up, then that's not a passion project. So first thing is sustainability. Second is consistency. And the third attribute or the pattern that they really want to see is a domino effect. So let's say, for example, that you volunteered at a senior center. And this is actually one of my students' examples. So she volunteered at a senior center and she was really interested in how we can cure Alzheimer's and dementia. And obviously there is no cure for it. So now what she's doing is she's reaching out to professors who's working on neuroscience and psychology and also biology. And so she's reaching out to those professors. Now, the reason why we're doing that is because number one, that's what she wants to do. But secondly, it shows a domino effect, right? So because you are working at the senior center and because of the observations that you made, you're now able to say, because of these questions that came up for me during my time, I now want to reach out to these professors, or I now want to work for this program instead. Now I want to take these college classes. So creating that domino effect is crucial because that is the only way that you can create a story for your application. Colleges are not looking for a list of your extracurriculars in your essay, because that spot is for the extracurricular sections where you can go ahead and put in 10 extracurriculars, and that's including both on campus and off campus. So you don't have a lot of activity section to begin with, which is the reason why I'm telling you that it doesn't make sense that you focus on quantity. You really have to focus on quality and creating that story, creating that domino effect, right? Another story that I can share is my personal. So for example, when I was a junior, I dropped out of all of my clubs because I knew that the clubs that I was involved in didn't align with my theme, or it didn't align with what I really wanted to explore and try. So I volunteered at a local elementary school, and it was a very low income elementary school. And from there, I saw that 5th and 6th graders, they didn't master the multiplication table yet. But if you know, you should know this by now because you're a high school student, we master multiplication tables in 3rd grade, right? So the very fact that the students didn't have that skill, they weren't able to move on to the next level in terms of their math classes. So from that observation, I created a passion project around that, and I hosted a live multiplication table event. So creating a domino effect is very, very important. And that's why I tell students, do not take on opportunities just because they're available to you, because with everything that you do, there is going to be an opportunity cost. Then basically the question is, okay, then what should I do instead? If I am working on a passion project, what should I do? And the very first thing that you really want to check is, how am I creating a domino effect by creating this passion project? And the second thing that you want to check is, obviously, does this passion project align with my theme? So the theme formula is an academic interest plus personal interest plus SPV. So does my passion project that I'm currently working on, or what I'm planning to work on, align with that theme, right? So it could be personal, it could be academic, it really doesn't matter. But I guess if you don't have an academic extracurricular and you really want to highlight that, then creating a passion project around your academic interests is going to be better. Last Saturday, I also hosted a live session talking about how you can actually create your passion project step by step. Actually, just kidding. It was a YouTube video. That YouTube video went live last Thursday, so you can go ahead and check it out. The very first video really takes you through how you can create a passion project step by step. So we use a 4-step framework for creating a passion project, so you can definitely check that out. Another question that I get a lot is, okay, so if I do work on this passion project and I do get research positions and I do work on something that's very unique to my passion and it does create a domino effect, what are some other benefits that will come with that, right? So the very first thing is that you're gonna have more time to work on what's actually a very important part of your application process, which is GPA. So you have to have good grades, obviously, to even aim for these goals. So having a good GPA and having good SAT and ACT scores is very important. And inside my program, I basically share what these colleges are looking for in terms of GPA, because I get a lot of questions like, what do you mean by good GPA? But the thing is that for every school, it's different, right? So for example, like Duke's focus is a lot on, let's say, for example, mechanical engineering. So they want to see good GPA in those subjects. For example, like University of Michigan Ross Business School, they really want to see that you are doing a great job in math, and they also have different business concentrations. So they want to see that you've explored those, or at least tapped into what they are about. Brown, for example, their focus is on writing. So really understanding that working on a passion project just goes above and beyond just actually having a passion project, but you get to work on and improve your statistics, which is so important. I recently heard an interview saying she got into Harvard, and she was basically saying like, my number one priority was my GPA. And then came something else that I wanted to work on that aligned with my passion, right? So that is benefit number one. The second benefit is that type 2 passion project is basically landing research positions. And so my students inside Formula program, they're landing research positions like literally every week. And it's not because they are a great writer or because they are spectacular. I mean, they are amazing kids, but there isn't anything like crazy unique about these students. And the reason why they're able to land these positions is because they position themselves correctly and they use the formula that I'm teaching them inside the program. Going back to the whole professor research position, which is one of the passion projects, which I think you guys are getting confused. Landing a research position is a passion project because it's an opportunity that you are creating for yourself. So what is the benefit of that is that my students who work under the supervision of professors or PhD students or master students, they ask for recommendation letters. And with Ivy League and top tier colleges, you have 1 to 2 spots where you can go ahead and put in external recommendation letter, right? So typically you want to think of the rec letter as on campus and off campus. So on campus, you get 2 core rec letters, and then you also get 1 counselor rec letter. With off campus, you can get 1 to 2. Now, some schools limit the amount of external recommendation letters you can go ahead and attach, but usually they allow 1 to 2. So you getting that research position enables you to also receive an amazing recommendation letter. And I've been literally preaching this for the past 5 years or so, that the pattern that we're seeing is that rec letters are one of the most important components of the application. And so many students really focus on like, oh my goodness, I have to write this really amazing, unique essay. Essays are important, but what really gets admission officers to say yes or no at the end of the day, like their last call, will come from rec letter. So having an amazing rec letter can really make or break your application. And if you think about it that way, you landing that research position is just going to check off all the right boxes that college admission officers are looking for. Also, when you do land your own opportunity and your own research position or internship at a company, nonprofit, startup, whatnot, it really shows your characteristics, because you're not just saying like, hey, I'm gonna pay $8,000 to go to this pre-college summer program, but instead I'm going to find my own opportunities that align with what I truly want to study and what I'm passionate about. And when you really show that characteristics, you can at the same time show your specific academic interest, which is so important because every college literally will ask you, why do you want to pursue this major? And the last benefit of having a passion project really is that you can show the 3 characteristics that I talked about earlier. You can show that your passion project is sustainable. You can also show that you are a very consistent student because you are passionate about your passion project. And at the same time, you can show that domino effect. You can share that story in a very, very compelling, authentic, and vulnerable way. And at the end of the day, we want to stand out, right? Like, you want college admission officers to look at your application and say, wow, like what she did is very unique and creative, and we can really sense her personality and what her values are from her passion project and from her essays. And so it's such an amazing and efficient way to go about this process, because when you are doing a bunch of different irrelevant activities, or you're just doing activities just because you feel like you're checking off the right categories, you're losing the opportunity to really show who you are, which is exactly the mistake that most high school students and parents make. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. If you have any questions about what we talked about today, leave them in the comments below, or you can also start that discussion inside our Facebook group. All right, I hope that you enjoyed today's video. If you loved what I shared with you today, make sure to hit the like button so that I know that you found this video helpful. If you want to take your college admissions journey to the next level, I invite you to join my Conquer College Admission membership program. This is where every month I share with you what you should be working on, and we also offer 2 coaching calls per month so that you can go ahead and pick a time that works best for you, and then ask me any questions you have about your extracurriculars, your passion project, anything related to college admissions. And that includes your mindset, your well-being, your confidence, all of those things that are so important in this journey. So if you want to learn more about our membership program, check it out at juliekimconsulting.com/membership. We will also go ahead and leave the link down below so that you can go ahead and click and learn more. All right, that is it for today's video. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!